She's the last person you'd expect as the victim in a shocking missing person mystery. Shelley Mook, a young mother in a quaint small town, seemingly without an enemy in the world.
She was so excited to have a little girl.
Married to her high school sweetheart.
There was going to be nobody else for her, and he was such a great guy.
A popular teacher.
She was beloved. As a teacher, she glowed.
Everybody loves Shelley. But somebody made her disappear.
Did somebody kidnap her? Was she carjacked, taken to an area, and killed?
Brittany Brooks remembers well the day when she and her best friend Shelley first met Tyler Moog back in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he was good looking. We just needed to know about him. And the rest is history. I mean, they immediately started dating and were together all the time.
Not long after that, 18-year-old Shelley and Tyler, who is 6 years older, are married with a baby on the way and headed to Tennessee to live near his family.
It was complete excitement. She was so excited to have a little girl, dress her up, and do all the things that a mommy does.
The little girl is named Liliana, but stress on the young marriage proves to be too much, and after 6 years together, the couple divorces.
Even after things had started to go wrong, there was always those second chances and hoping that it was going to be different, and it never ended up being different.
Shelley moves into an apartment in a neighboring town. She starts work as a teacher at the local middle school.
From all accounts, she was a good teacher, well respected by her peers, well liked by the students.
And she is sharing custody of her daughter with her ex-husband Tyler when she starts dating someone new.
I actually didn't know him. He seemed very, very quiet and reserved compared to Tyler.
Things are looking up for Shelley until the day she makes an appointment with a man at her apartment to get some work done.
So the handyman says she never showed up.
She wasn't there.
The next day, Shelley does not show up for work. Brittany gets a call from the school and she has a bad feeling that something is terribly wrong.
They were really concerned. And in that moment, it was pure fear. I felt as though I knew that she was gone.
Brittany starts making calls.
I'm talking to everybody that we could possibly talk to, law enforcement, asking them why they're not doing more, why they're not pursuing more.
Shelley's ex, Tyler, also calls police after she doesn't show up to pick up their daughter at his house.
I do not know exactly what he told them when he called. I just know that he called and reported her missing.
Around the same time, firefighters in a neighboring county are busy cleaning up after a late-night car fire in a remote field. Nobody is in the vehicle, and authorities figure it's likely an insurance job or a stolen car.
They did find an accelerant, so they knew that this was arson. They knew it was set, but they didn't know why. They thought this was probably somebody joyriding, and they dumped the car.
Everything in the car goes up in smoke. The plates are gone, and there's no way to trace it, except for one thing.
After the car cooled off, they were able to get the VIN number from the vehicle and run it.
It turns out that torch car belongs to Shelley Mook.
What did the vehicle look like?
It was completely burned out. It just looked basically like a skeleton of the vehicle.
And Shelley is nowhere to be found.
Literally without a trace. Community was devastated. Her disappearance affected everybody. Her students were very sad, shocked.
Police start retracing Shelley's steps from when she was last seen leaving work, headed home to meet a man working on her apartment.
Was the handyman ever found by police, do you know?
Yeah, he was spoken to.
Do you know if the handyman's alibi was ever verified?
I do not know that.
And what about the new man in her life?
Shelley was dating someone at the time she vanished.
She was. Actually searched Shelley's new apartment in Murfreesboro for any information that would give me into her frame of mind.
What was Shelley's normal routine?
She pretty much went to work and went home.
24-year-old Shelley Mook is still missing without a trace. Authorities are searching for her and working the case hard, but friends and family fear the worst.
Never. Never would she leave her daughter. Her daughter was her world. She did not leave voluntarily.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has now been called in to re-examine the case, meticulously looking into all possible suspects, including the handyman she was supposed to meet at her apartment and her new boyfriend.
Did you interview the maintenance man?
I did not. Law enforcement had already interviewed him and cleared him.
Private investigator Kevin Keel was hired by Shelley's family to help find her. Keel says once cops cleared the handyman and the new boyfriend, they shifted their focus back on her ex-husband, Tyler Mook. And it turns out that things in the marriage were a lot tougher than many people realized.
He was abusive, at times cruel. Court records show that he pushed her around, snatched her around when he would get upset. There is a record of the domestic violence that was going on in that house.
Remember, Tyler says he called the cops the day Shelley went missing, saying she was supposed to pick up their daughter, but never showed. Now cops believe Tyler may have been the last one to see Shelley. In fact, they say she actually stopped at his house with their daughter Liliana in the car.
After getting out of school and picking up her daughter, she came to Tyler's residence that afternoon, supposedly to return a box of Tyler's belongings.
She used to live at this house. We know that she got there, but nothing. She just vanished into thin air.
As Shelley's family suspicions mount around Tyler, Shelley's mother files for custody of 6-year-old Liliana. Tyler fights to keep her and is interviewed on camera during this custody hearing. But once on the hot seat, he clams up.
You were upset with Shelley's dating other men?
On advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer on the grounds of the Fifth Amendment.
Shelley's family took him to court because they thought once they took him to family court, he'd answer some questions, but they were wrong.
Astonishingly, he pleads the Fifth more than 150 times.
You exhibited violent outbursts against Shelley as a result of other men?
On advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer on the grounds of the Fifth Amendment.
Then, out of the blue, he suddenly answers a strange question about what happened in his house on the day Shelley went missing.
Did you have sex with Shelley on February 28th?
Yes.
What time?
On advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer on the grounds of the Fifth Amendment.
Why do you think he would answer that question out of all the other ones?
It was baffling. It was almost as if he was proud of being able to say that he had sex with her. And we don't really know if that's true. He was proud of it, absolutely. Yeah.
But now, authorities also interview little Liliana about the day her mother disappeared. And her answers raise a huge red flag.
The version that Liliana told was that Shelley got out of the car, went to the door, left her in the car seat. Shelley went inside with Tyler. At some point, Tyler came back outside, got her out of her car seat, took her into the residence, and took her to her old bedroom. She said she never saw her mother when she came into the residence, went into the bedroom.
She was told to go to her room, and she never saw her mom again. There's no doubt in my mind that she's gone because of him.
Police name Moog as a person of interest in Shelley's disappearance, but they declined to talk about the case with Crime Watch Daily.
And over to the dumpster.
Private investigator Keel has also spent countless hours digging for facts and working closely with Shelley's family and the law. And he has a very bad feeling about Tyler Moog and Shelley's car, found burning in a field only hours after her disappearance.
I think that Shelley was probably deceased before Liliana was brought into the house by Tyler. And at some point that night, I think Shelley was disposed of and her car was disposed of.
And then there is this bombshell. If Tyler was involved, Keel doesn't believe he acted alone.
He had to have had help if he were the one that disposed of the car and burned it, because you're talking roughly 30 miles from his home. There's no way he could leave Liliana in bed alone, go burn the car, and then walk home in that amount of time.
And 10 days after Shelley's disappearance, Keel also finds what may yet turn out as a key piece of evidence, a surveillance tape from the early morning hours after she went missing.
I was able to uncover a video from a convenience store several miles from his home that showed him around 2-3 a.m. on March 1st, pulling up in his red S10 truck.
Does it stop at the dumpster?
It does stop at the dumpster for roughly 5 to 10 minutes.
So who has the video right now?
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has custody of the video.
Will they tell you anything about the video?
They will not.
Meanwhile, investigators in the custody case are floored by another shocking revelation involving Liliana.
They found out that Tyler had been talking to his 6-year-old daughter about burning down his ex-mother-in-law's house. That was unimaginable. He wanted to give the little girl matches so that she could actually help burn down her grandmother's house.
I mean, this little girl's mother is missing. And now this?
Ultimately, Shelley's family wins custody of Liliana, but Tyler is still seemingly obsessed with getting her back. Evidence in this 911 call he made by mistake.
911. Hello?
Incredibly, it's a pocket dial from Tyler Mook himself.
And they know that I'm not going anywhere right now because I don't have Lily.
During the 22-minute call, he talks to his father while they work with power tools. Most of it is garbled, but what comes through seems to be about Shelley's missing person case.
They can't prove nothing. They want to come arrest me. We don't want.
And he talks about a car. Exactly whose car, we don't know.
Someone keeps bothering me about that car, and they're going to try to bust me with that.
Minutes later, a second call to 911 comes in from a very concerned Tyler Mook. This one is one he intended to make.
Did you get a call from this number here a couple minutes ago?
Yes, we had an open line from it.
What happens on that open line? Does it get recorded and stuff like that?
Investigator Keel says one of the biggest reveals during the call is Mook's state of mind.
Tyler's afraid the police are watching him, afraid he's about to be picked up at any time, and just seems really paranoid in the conversation with his father.
Mook has never been charged with Shelley's disappearance, and his lawyer has denied he had anything to do with it. But his troubles with the law are far from over. What happened to Shelley Mook? Cops believe one person knows. Her ex-husband, Tyler. He's been named a person of interest, but made it clear at a custody hearing he's not talking.
On advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer on the grounds of the Fifth Amendment.
And now he's gone. Tennessee is in his rear-view mirror. Tyler's moved to Florida, looking to start a new life. He buys a fast boat and has a hot new girlfriend, 25-year-old Robin Dunneth, who also has a young daughter.
What attracted you to Tyler?
He was good looking and said all the right things.
Robin says she didn't know anything about Tyler Mook's past in Tennessee. In truth, for a while, she didn't even know his real name.
I saw a name on the side of his boat, Mook Racing, and I asked him what that meant, and he said, "That's my last name." And I said, "Well, I thought you said your last name was Cook." And he said, "No, I was just joking, it's Mook."
But Robin isn't laughing. She searches Tyler Mook online, and her eyes are opened wide.
Didn't really know what to do. I kind of freaked out.
She talks to her mother, who has a quick response.
What did your mom say?
You need to get away from him very fast, as easy as you can.
And she lets Tyler Mook know what she knows, but he wants to explain, and she agrees to meet him at a local bar.
And what's the first thing he says to you?
Don't believe it.
And what types of things was he telling you?
That none of it's true, and he was a smooth talker.
And Robin takes Tyler's sob story back to her mother.
I just told her that I feel like he didn't do it.
Did you think your relationship was heading towards marriage?
Yes.
Right up until the day Robin joins Mook, along with his brother Andrew and his girlfriend, for a cruise on his speedboat. That's when Robin says she'd wish she had listened to her mother.
When I got on the boat, I had noticed that there was definitely alcohol drinking the whole day.
Robin says Mook is angry at her for being late and guns the boat to full throttle.
I said, if you hit a sandbar, I said, you're gonna kill us all. And I just kept yelling at him to slow down, slow down.
And for the first time, she meets a Tyler Mook that she never knew existed.
He grabbed my sunglasses off my head, and so I was trying to call my mom, and he grabbed my phone and pulled it away from my face, and he threw me over the side of the boat into the water.
But it's not over.
And I just thought that he was just joking. And then I felt him jump in behind me, grab me, and turn me around and held me under, upside down.
And now, Robin says, it becomes a desperate battle for survival against an enraged Tyler Mook.
Somehow got up, and I got one huge gasp of air, and then he grabbed me right away again and put me under right away again. And I just kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and that time I thought I was gonna die. And that's when he came after me again, and I just yelled, "Andrew, please help me." And then he pushed me under again.
Robin says she is forever thankful that Andrew Mook decided to take action, claiming he jumped in the water, put Tyler in a headlock, and got him off her back and on the boat.
I just knew I had to get away from his boat as fast as I could. And then I saw a boat coming from the other way, and I just pleaded and begged him just to please get me out of the water. He just tried to kill me.
The second boat takes Robin to shore, and soon after that, she reports the attack to police. Mook is charged with battery, but Robin feels like it's not enough.
He got arrested that night after the incident, and his mom bonded him out right away. I got a restraining order the next day. Really, I was just in fear that he was going to come after me again.
And then, about 10 days after the incident on the boat, a blast from Tyler's past. Robin says detectives from Tennessee showed up in Florida.
Did you all meet?
Yes.
We don't know exactly what was said in that meeting, but shortly afterwards, the battery charges against Mook are dramatically escalated to attempted murder in the first degree. Assistant State's Attorney Kristen Chase says Mook's attack against Robin is clearly premeditated.
He removes her sunglasses. He knows she's going in the water. He takes her cell phone. Again, he knows she's going in the water. And then when he's actually in the water with her, he doesn't let go. He keeps pushing her back under. Each time he pushes her back under, that's another act of premeditation. He has a design to prevent her from breathing.
But getting a conviction in court could be a challenge. In the past, Mook's family has been solidly in his corner. Now the prosecution needs his brother Andrew to open up about what happened on that boat.
He didn't want to testify. We didn't force him to testify. He was getting a lot of pressure from his family not to.
The trial gets underway as Robin takes the stand.
What did he do? He grabbed me and turned me upside down.
You were able to get that gasp of air.
He pushed me right back under again. And I was just pleading for him to just please let me go.
Then it's Andrew's turn, and it's make or break time for the prosecution.
Do you recall if she said anything when she came up?
She yelled for me. She was upset.
Was she screaming?
She yelled for me.
When she yelled for you, what did she say?
Yelling. When she come up, he's trying to kill me.
State's Attorney Chase is grateful for the testimony, and she knows it wasn't easy for Andrew.
He said that the person that he was most responsible to was first God and then his son. He said at the end of the day, he loves his brother, but he's got to tell the truth.
Tyler does not testify during the trial, and the jury delivers a verdict. Guilty on the lesser charge of attempted second-degree murder. It's not what Chase was looking for, but she'll take it.
Because their relationship was seemingly fine before this, to them it seemed more of an attempted second-degree murder, something that wasn't premeditated.
Tyler Mook is sentenced to 12 years in prison, and that's good news for Robin, for now.
Was that a huge relief for you?
Yes.
Is 12 years long enough?
Do I think so? No.
But she's not the only one who is glad that Mook is off the streets. Attending the trial is an out-of-town guest that hangs on every word. That guest is Shelley Mook's mother, and she's there for Robin.
It made me feel good that she was there to support me, but it also was really sad for me.
Tyler Mook has never been charged in connection with Shelley Mook's disappearance, but back home in Tennessee, her best friend is hoping that justice will one day prevail for Shelley.
If Tyler is watching this or has access to this story, what would you say to him?
To be a man, because there's no way I would ever use that word when it comes to describing him. And he needs to come forward with the truth.
And while Tyler sits in prison, the search for what really happened to Shelley continues. Josh Devine with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation tells us, quote, "Our investigation into the Shelley Mook case is active and ongoing, along with our law enforcement partners and the District Attorney General's office. We're continuing to pursue any and all leads as they present. As with any case, we would ask anyone who may have information that might help the investigation to contact our agency at 1-800-TBI-FIND."